So today we're going to be watching Strange and Scary Mysteries of the Month. I watched a couple of these from earlier of last year and it looks pretty cool. And we're going to go over it and see how it pans out.
Welcome everybody to the Strange and Scary Mysteries of the Month, where we find the creepiest true crime stories from all around the world currently going down and lay them out here for you to check out. Thanks so much for tuning in to Scary Mysteries today. Here are the Strange and Scary Mysteries of the Month for October 2025.
All right, October 2025, Strange Mysteries of the Month.
What's happening in Conejos County? Around 11 p.m. on Friday, September 26th of 2025, a party of hunters in Colorado's South San Juan wilderness radioed for help from a narrow, timbered slope after a 54-year-old man from Tennessee suddenly collapsed.
Okay.
They gave coordinates and described being caught in steep terrain and rotated CPR while dispatch tried to raise a flight crew. Air support was grounded though. The canyon walls, tree cover, and night winds made a hoist unsafe, so responders staged at the nearest trailhead and started in on foot.
So my question is, what you doing in the woods this late if it was foggy, dark, and all that? Why are you in the woods and now you stuck? See? This is the question that I have always asked for myself. When people get stuck in these situations, who told you to go in the woods in the first place? Now you got people who got family have to come and save you. You shouldn't have been in the woods in the first place. That's all I'm saying.
And through the night, rescuers threaded side hills and switchbacks.
Now you got people out here searching for your dumb ass.
September 27th, they reached the party and initiated their protocols. Unfortunately, though, it was too late. Officials said there was no public threat, and the coroner would confirm the cause of death. Preliminarily, it was considered medical related.
What's considered medical related?
Has died in Conejos County's South San Juan wilderness. Late last night, the sheriff's office getting a call for help from hunters in a remote area of the wilderness there.
But
they were
why
hunting.
This made national news is because just 8 days earlier, in the same back country of Conejos County, 2 elk hunters suddenly went missing. 25-year-old Andrew Porter of North Carolina and 25-year-old Ian Stasko of Utah. They vanished after storms ripped through the high country. And on September.
So, does that mean their bodies have yet to be found? Because you vanish, how your body go missing? How you a grown man and you go missing? If y'all know Julio Fulio. But the question is, you went hunting, you got rifles, you got sidearms and knives, but then you disappear.
September 18th, when searchers found them. The young men had hidden under a large tree seeking shelter from the rains, and that's when a lightning strike ripped down from above, killing them both.
Oh, shit.
So 2 incidents, 3 deaths, and suddenly everyone's asking if these mountains are cursed.
So they were struck by lightning and died. I thought somebody was out there killing them.
Anybody who's involved in mountain rescue, search and rescue here in Colorado, long enough, they'll eventually have to go to help someone who's been involved in a lightning strike.
The range already carries its own folklore. Alfred Packer's 1874 cannibal story came out of these mountains, and he led 5 other men into that area despite warnings about brutal snow.
He eat people?
Months
Cannibal?
later, in April, Packer emerged alone, looking healthy enough to raise suspicion about what went down out there. And those men, by the way, were eventually found, showing signs of a brutal end.
Oh, he killed them.
Killed dozens here as well, from the mining era to the Red Mountains Pass in 2021. And cursed? Well, maybe that's just the word people reach for when a place keeps reminding you who's in charge.
Right now, the place keeps reminding you who's in charge. So why y'all keep going back? Let me know why y'all keep going back. Because if you keep going back and you seeing people on the news dying, why you keep going back? Do you not watch the news? Do you not do research of where you're about to go hiking? People are literally going missing and you want to be the next one missing? You want to be the next one on a carton, milk carton or a carton of milk? Let me know. Would you go into these woods to do that? I don't know.
If you don't know the area, The South San Juan Wilderness is nearly 160,000 acres,
Damn.
steep drainages, knife-edge ridges, straddling the Rio Grande and San Juan National Forest. In late summer into fall, storms boil up afternoon. And above the timberline, you're exposed, so the natural move is to head below it. Now, lightning doesn't have to hit you straight on. It can run the ground, travel a tree, jump through wet gear.
Oh.
And with Porter and Stasko, the evidence was textbook, and the coroner called it. In the Tennessee case, it wasn't that. Different signature and different story.
So they're dying from natural
they mess with your head.
disasters.
Same county, same week. 3 families getting calls they'll remember for the rest of their lives. So, here's the takeaway without the superstition. The mountains didn't turn on anyone here. They did what they always do, set the rules. For 2 young hunters, a storm moved faster than people can move at altitude. And for the hunter found a week later, something inside his body failed and help couldn't beat the night. No conspiracy.
But what failed in his body?
If you're heading to the San Juans this...
I'm sorry to ask. If you, because this is the second time you had medical problem or medically related. If you have health problems, you're not going out there by yourself. If you have health problems, you're not going hunting in a dense wooded area. I don't know. I guess that's why it's a mystery.
Fall or anywhere really. Remember, check the forecast again. Set turnaround times you'll actually keep. Drop your pack in poles if thunder gets close. And remember that after dark, even a minor problem becomes a major one.
When you by
Because
yourself
out there,
especially.
the wilderness can quickly take control and decide how the rest of your story gets told.
There's no safe place to hide during a thunder and lightning storm when you're in the high country.
Number 4, solved. The yogurt shop murders.
So, does that mean the wilderness one was never solved and that people continuously disappears till this day? Is that what that means? Let me know what y'all think, chat.
The mall was closing when the last lights glowed inside the I Can't Believe It's yogurt shop. On Friday, December 6, 1991, you've probably come across this horrifying story, as HBO recently released a 4-part documentary on the case. However, that was released before the case actually got solved. If you're not familiar with it, inside the shop, Jennifer Harbison and Eliza Thomas, both 17, were cleaning up for the night. Jennifer's 15-year-old sister Sarah and 13-year-old Amy Ayers were there as well, waiting for a ride home. A couple leaving just before 11 p.m. remembered 2 men sitting low at a table, acting off. Earlier, one of those men had asked to use the back restroom. One of those details that only means something later, when investigators start wondering if the rear door was propped from the inside. And near midnight, a patrol car saw smoke pushing through the roof. The fire crews went in, and the scene they found still haunts Austin.
What do y'all got out there? I'm in round here, more than 35. Just right up on that. We got a college in the county. Yeah, apparently a robbery house.
Now, that fire was arson, and it had done its job, burned lots of evidence. But it wasn't the fire that was so horrific.
Then what was?
Under the
Were they
act,
murdered beforehand?
firefighters and detectives found the girls gagged and bound. In 3 cases,
Oh,
the bindings
shit.
were made from their own underwear. All 4 had been shot execution style. Most of the ballistic evidence pointed to .22 caliber lead rounds, the kind that don't deform much and are tough to track. But there was also a second gun, a .380 pistol, and a .380 bullet tied specifically to Amy, proof that at least 2 weapons were used inside that tiny back room. The shop had been set on fire to erase the rest. Jennifer, Sarah, and Eliza were found together, and their bodies severely charred. And Amy was separate, nearer to the office area, with second and very early third-degree burns over roughly a quarter of her body. And 2 guns, tight control, and a fire that followed, That's why from the start, some Austin detectives said this felt organized and controlled. The kind of thing only an experienced criminal could pull off. Whoever did this moved 4 victims, restrained them, and torched the scene on the way out through a back door that responders later found out.
How are people this cruel that they can turn around and just execute, bound, gag, all of this to actual human beings and then set the place ablaze? They don't always say it, but I do believe there are demons that walk among us.
Unlocked. The robbery gone wrong line showed up in the headlines, but there was always more to it. That's why the case has endured for so long.
Everybody says you'll be better with time. It don't get no better.
I'm sure it don't when you lose somebody.
We owe ourselves as a community a resolution to this case.
And for decades, Austin
Poor
lived
girls.
with confessions that fell apart and names that didn't match the DNA. But the turning point came from old evidence that survived the fire and a tool that didn't exist in '91. Investigators recently reran a .380 casing recovered from a floor drain through the modern Nibbin ballistics network.
Oh, don't tell me the killer kept
then
the
rode
gun.
that lead to DNA. The trail stitched the Austin case to South Carolina and Kentucky, and, right to the name, Robert Eugene Brashers, a serial
He kept
predator
the same
who
gun?
unalived himself in 1999.
Oh, he didn't. That's fucked
Now, he's
up.
connected to at least 7 murders, and at the time of
7?
the yogurt shop crime scene, would have been 30.
So Robert was out here being serial killer. But I guess in the 1990s, you got to also realize that a lot of the police technology that they have now didn't cross state lines. And so when you became a serial killer back then, a lot of those counties/states didn't speak to each other. So though they would have had the same not motive, but I guess the same MO or consistency between the killing patterns, they really never talked because they were so far apart. Then that's how serial killers got away with it.
3 years old. A final lab result on DNA under Amy Ayer's fingernails fit Brasher's DNA and sealed the announcement.
I'm sorry that it took 40 years for us to get here.
34
We're here
years.
now.
This is one of the most devastating and haunting cases in this city's history. We now have evidence linking a specific individual to this case, Robert Eugene Brashers. The only physical evidence located at that scene
Was the bullet.
has been matched to him.
Now, even with that, Austin PD is careful about the one or more question. And 2 guns inside a small shop leaves open the possibility of an accomplice.
Oh, that's true.
Detectives say the file stays open.
It's like, how does one guy gag and bound 4 girls? Now, when you have a gun pointed at you, you're more than likely to not fight back, and I get that. So it could be under that type of duress. They just listened. But if you saw two bullets, and basically that points to 2 different guns, it could be one person with 2 guns. Or, like they said, does it bring the question in, there was an accomplice? And if so, did that accomplice throw away that gun? And that's why there's no more linking to other murders?
Open while they work the edges. But for what happened in that room, the bindings, the gags, the 22s and the .380, and the arson that erased fingerprints and footprints, well, the city finally has a suspect with science behind the name. If you knew Brashers, and if you ever talked about Austin in late '91, well, detectives still want to hear it. Because the crime in the end is not the smoke everyone saw on West Anderson Lane. It's what came before it. 4 teenagers, controlled, separated, and executed in minutes by someone who believed a match could erase the truth. And 34 years later, though, proves it didn't.
But at least it got solved.
Number 3, 1 million-year-old human skull.
1 million-year-old skull.
You may have seen the headlines making the rounds this month. 1 million-year-old human skull found. So, It sounds like we were all walking around this planet for a very long time, which is totally insane if in fact it's true.
Is it Lucy?
So, let's dig into the facts. Now, the skull in question isn't anything new. In the early 1990s, farmers working a river terrace in Hubei, China, dug up a smashed fossil cranium. They called it Yangzhen 2. It was old, somewhere between 940,000 and 1.1 million years, but crushed like a paper cup.
Oh, shit.
So for decades, it sat awkwardly labeled Homo erectus because no one could read its true shape. This year, though, the team ran meticulous CT scans.
I wonder if it was smushed because of the pressure of the dirt, or was his head bashed in?
And digitally uncrumpled the skull, a virtual surgery that aimed to reverse the distortions of time. And what emerged didn't look like classic Homo erectus anymore. On measurements of the face and skull cap, it clustered with an Asian lineage often nicknamed Dragon Man, which is Homo longi, the same clan many researchers link to the elusive Denisovans, we know mostly from DNA. The study, published in Science, argues that the family split between Neanderthals, Denisovans/Longi, and us happened closer to 1 million years ago, earlier than many genetics timelines have it. So that does not mean Homo sapiens, people like us, were around 1 million years ago. It just means the roots of our branch may have peeled off the shared trunk that long ago.
That led to our
So does that mean Asians were first?
And we coexisted a few 100,000 years ago. Dragon Man, it's claimed, is a new species that lived alongside us. Not only that, it's more closely related to us.
Neanderthals
so does that mean we're not
first, 1.38 million years. Then the Longi Denisovan line, 1.2 million, and the Sapiens line, 1.02 million, possibly nudged by brutal climate swings. It's a bold reconstruction, and it'll be debated
so we're Homo
until
sapiens?
More fossils and ideally ancient
right, chat?
DNA back it up. But here's why this case is actually really interesting and may feel a bit like deja vu. Now, our timeline keeps getting pulled back as evidence improves. Just a generation ago, science often tossed out 80,000 years for when humans began. But that number tracked a major out-of-Africa migration, not the origin of our species.
So where we have
dating
gone?
And fossils improved. The oldest secure Homo sapiens finds settled around 150 to 200,000 years. And then came new work, redating the remains of Homo the First to at least 233,000 years, adding slack to the clock.
So when was Lucy?
And recently,
I know I keep saying Lucy, but I felt like Lucy was the first actual Homo sapien discovered in Africa. Is it Lucy? Correct me if I'm wrong, chat.
Morocco's Jebel Irhoud remains push the oldest sapiens evidence back to 300,000 plus years, shifting our origin picture from a single cradle to a pan-African process. So that's the pattern here. Better methods, older dates. When we digitally unsquash the Yangzhen 2 skull, we see a big brain case for its time and a forehead face shape that doesn't match the usual Homo erectus look.
Ooh.
When scientists compare its measurements to over 100 other fossils, it groups closer to the so-called Dragon Man, Denisovan side of the family. If that's right, it means the family branches that later became Neanderthals, Denisovans, and us had already split about 1 million years ago.
So there are people before us.
Sense of the messy
we knew there
part
was,
of human
but
evolution,
could that mean there's more, even more of a line?
When lots of different human types overlapped across Africa, Europe, and Asia between about 300,000 and 1 million years ago. Now, how long we've really been around, us Homo sapiens, we're not 100% sure. At least not yet. Number 2.
Only time will
the
tell.
Killing of Sandra Birchmore. Night fell.
Low key, all these stories are just all over the place if you really think about it. The first one was natural disasters. Then it was a murder. And then we were talking about Homo sapiens and skulls being found. Now we're back to murder.
Over Canton, Massachusetts, and Sandra Birchmore stopped picking up her phone. She was 23 years old, a teacher's aide, pregnant and excited about it. Finally, something good.
Damn.
On February 4th of 2021,
Call it a
police
double
forced
homicide.
open the door to her basement apartment and found her on the floor. The state called it unaliving by asphyxia, so case closed. But of course, we wouldn't be covering this case if it really were just that
Unaliving,
simple.
that means she was strangled.
As you know, stories don't stop just because a report says so.
Facts.
Oh my God. I'm very sorry for your loss.
Oh, so they took it as suicide because
Years
that's
earlier,
what the cop
Sandra
calls
had
said.
joined the Stoughton Police Explorers, a youth program run by the same department that would later sign off on her death certificate. And there she met Matthew Farewell, first a volunteer, then an officer and explorer.
It's always a cop that's the killer, ain't it?
But at the time that they met, she was a minor, and the pair had a 12-year age difference.
Oh, shit.
Rumors swirled their relationship got inappropriate.
Sandra Marie Birchmore.
And they kept in touch, of course, and then, just like that, Sandra got pregnant, and Matthew, according to prosecutors, panicked.
Oh, damn.
The timeline of how exactly...
I don't see. That's the shit that gets me mad a little bit. It's already wrong that you hunching this little girl who was underage and you a grown-ass dude. But then you knock her up, and then all of a sudden now you want to come to coming to God saying, oh, I've been doing wrong, and you want to panic? Where was the panic when you was dropping your pants on a minor?
Their relationship went Titans in the winter of 2021. Friends report that on the night of February 1st, cameras and phone data placed Farewell at Sandra's door.
Oh, he even showed
Knowing
up?
How exactly police work cases, they say they believe Matthew strangled the young woman, staged the scene, and walked back out into the cold. Now, Sandra wasn't found for 3 days. The Massachusetts cops still said she did it to herself, but her family didn't think so.
So there's cameras in the lobby, but there was no cameras on the floor of the floor of her apartment to see who comes in and goes out of apartment buildings. I mean, out of the apartment itself. Is that like invading of privacy if it's on the row or on a hallway of the apartment? Damn.
And more importantly, neither did federal agents.
So he strangled
It
her.
took 3.5 years to turn the lock, and in late August of 2024, the U.S. Department of Justice unsealed an indictment. The former Stoughton detective Matthew G. Farewell was arrested and charged with murder, accused of killing Sandra to stop her
Oh,
from
so they
exposing
did
his
go
years
after
of
him.
on-duty exploitation.
In the Win with Zen sweepstakes, you can get a chance to win $100,000. But there's more than one way.
The FBI arrested former Stoughton police officer Matthew Farwell for allegedly taking the life of Sandra Birchmore in order to ensure her silence. We in law enforcement are entrusted with immense authority because our decisions can have life-changing consequences. What we believe Officer Matthew Farwell did, as outlined in today's indictment, is depraved.
And he pleaded not guilty and is currently being held while the case moves forward to trial. The federal filings paint a claustrophobic picture. A cop who met a girl in a police youth program became her authority.
Oh, I didn't hear that part in the beginning. My bad, I missed it. I knew she was a youth and underage, but you met her at a cop academy? Oh, they need to do two to the head, two to the chest, one to the head.
Go. Messages and witnesses describing control, a scene arranged to mislead, and data logs that redraw the last hours of her life. It's the kind of case where the evidence isn't a single smoking gun. It's the pattern that really paints the picture. And then
I wonder how many months pregnant she was.
In June of 2025. DNA testing excluded Farewell as the father of Sandra's unborn child.
Oh, shit!
Defense teams called it a hole in the government's theory, but prosecutors didn't flinch. Their case, they said, isn't about paternity. It's about a cover-up killing to silence the truth about a cop.
So the baby, wait. So the baby wasn't even his. But did he know that the baby wasn't his? Or did he find out that she was stepping out and got pregnant by another man and he took action? I guess you could have three ways. He didn't do the killing, or he killed her because he was afraid that she was pregnant with his kid, or he found out she was pregnant by somebody else and he stepped out and he got mad. And he basically staged it as a suicide. So it ever got out that it wasn't his baby, she took her life in distress.
Program. And whether or not she was carrying his child is a moot point.
It is, but it also adds another motive.
Post-disciplinary records and local hearings dragged other names into the light. The leadership over the Explorers program, officers disciplined or decertified, denials and disputes on the record. And what began as a basement death in Canton has now become a test of who gets believed when the uniform is on one side of the story.
Big facts. Are you covering it up?
Or on the other. Well, where are we now exactly? Well, the federal indictment says murder, and the state's original ruling says she did it to herself. And these two worlds can't live in the same room forever. Is it still ongoing? It's one or the other. And now, we'll have to wait until a courtroom can decide which one is the real truth.
We're out here today just trying to, make the public more aware of what happened to Sandra and keep her name in the public eye. We still have a long way to go with her case to get other people.
So how long is this trial? He was indicted. It says recent. Oh, so he got new charges. So this was a couple weeks ago. But they said it wasn't his baby, but based off of this, it's saying that it is. All right, Matthew Farewell, let's see, has been charged with one count of causing the death of Bridgemore's unborn baby. So does that mean he wasn't able to get her? So they're going after the unborn baby? Oh, he filed a motion in June, which delayed the trial. So when is the trial? Oh, it's October 5th, 2026. So he got to sit in there another year before he gets his day in court. So then my question, not that I'm saying he's not guilty, but when does it come in that he deserves a speedy trial? Or is he waiving a speedy trial because the evidence is damning? That would be the question. Because she's already dead, unfortunately, along with her baby. And if the federal government is accumulating evidence to go against him and he just received another charge for the unborn baby, when does the factor of a speedy trial come in?
Los Angeles' V-shaped UFO.
And now we're back to sci-fi.
They're calling it a V-shaped craft over LA. Rows of white lights, motion moving steady like a slow slide. The Post says it lingered there for about 25 to 30 minutes before it slipped south and blinked out. That's the viral story, but now let's get to the verified. On Thursday, August 28th, 2025 at 11:38 p.m., a couple is on their balcony in LA when a light bigger than stars catches their eyes. They pull their phone out, zoom on in, and what fills the frame is a V-shaped boomerang with several lights along a dark hull. This object doesn't behave like a plane and doesn't look like one. They keep filming as it lingers, and around a half hour later, this UFO drifts off toward the south until it's gone. And two witnesses, and they file the report 2 days later with the National
Wait, we got
UFO
a website that
Center.
National UFO Reporting?
The duration, the balcony, the southward exit, and the video attached. Now from there, this story snowballs. Paranormal blogs grab it, and Barstool Sports runs the clip. The radio sites repost the New Fork summary. The phrasing barely changes across outlets. V-shaped, glowing lights, hovered for 25 minutes. 2 witnesses in Los Angeles. It is a UFO by definition, an unidentified flying object, but does that mean it's coming from another planet? Well,
but what else would it have been?
By narrowing down the usual suspects. Commercial airliners often stack and turn on approach, and long zoom pixel bloom confuse space lights into a single shape. But the witnesses emphasize hovering and minimal motion for a half hour, which cuts against a simple final approach path. And helicopters? Well, LA has plenty of those, but a tight multi-ship formation holding station for that long will usually be noisy and noticed, and the footage doesn't pick up sound. And searchlights.
What kind of engine did they have?
Don't carry a solid V. Sky lanterns wander with the wind and don't hold a fixed position. A kite with LEDs, perhaps.
Oh, they're debunking any excuse they might even say to this.
Less so, that high and that steady inland, though, for 30 minutes. And drones are the modern wild card. A single large platform, or a linked array, can create exactly this silhouette. And a city's seen elaborate aerial light shows before. But a hobby-class drone holding a bright multi-emitter V for half an hour at that altitude pushes battery and FAA rules. A professional rig makes more sense, and those gigs usually have permits and promo, which hasn't surfaced yet. And if they do, this gets solved fast. Then
but have they not looked into it?
And people see the V and think B-2 or the old F-117. Cool idea, but wrong behavior. A stealth aircraft doesn't hover, and it doesn't loiter lit up over Los Angeles for 30 minutes like a parade float. If it were a test article, that would happen somewhere away from public view. You wouldn't be watching it from a balcony. And what keeps this one sticky is that it matches a pattern. 2025 has been thick with chevron or V-shaped reports in the New Fork logs, Los Angeles included.
So we're seeing this all over the country?
Is right there in their database with the 11:38 p.m. timestamp and the 25-minute duration. It sits among other chevron reports from around the country this year. That doesn't prove anything beyond recurrence, but it explains why this clip felt instantly familiar to folks who track these things. So where we land is a compelling video, plus consistent witness details, plus a clean public report, versus a city full of
believe in UFOs?
Sources that haven't stepped forward. No official explanation, no FAA note, no confirmed drone show. Just a V of light holding over LA and then ghosting south. And tag it how you want, the Phoenix Lights in miniature, a bespoke drone rig or something we don't have words for yet. But keep the file open, because until a tangible explanation comes out, the V-shaped UFO sticks. One more chevron added to a year full of them. So that's October 2025, Strange and Scary Mysteries. If spooky season's calling, which I know it is, cue up our own film.
Appreciate you doing this, yo. Shout out, shout out, shout out. Shout out to the YouTube channel Scary Mysteries. I appreciate you for doing this one. So I'm gonna try to keep along with the Sandra Birchmore case and see what happens, but he doesn't go to trial till next year. So I wonder if Scary Mysteries is gonna do a recap on it. But comment below if y'all really, this is my first time doing the mystery thing. Let me know below if this is something that y'all messing with. If it's something that entertains you or however the case you may look. Let me know. Outside of that, I'll see y'all next episode.